What's going on, guys? It's Nick here, back with another video, back with another season of fantasy football content. A lot of fun updates to go over at the end of the video. We're going to start things off with the mock draft. First, though, classic, right? We have to start with the mock draft Monday. We have to start off with our normal setup. I think we're going to go mostly based off vibes as well for this mock draft Monday. I have my rankings pulled up over here, but we're so early, I think it'd be a little bit better to just see who do we like? What are we thinking ADP looks like? This is my first mock draft. I've done 2 underdog drafts. This is my first mock draft on Fantasy Pros, so I actually have not seen yet what the ADPs kind of are on Fantasy Pros, but I will say every year it gets sharper and sharper earlier, so I don't think they're going to be that bad. But we got to start off half PPR snake draft, 12 teams. We'll randomize our spot, and we don't have to avoid anything because it's our first one of the season. Of course, we're going to do a bunch of scoring formats, a bunch of different spots. Initially looking at things, it's way too early to know, but the 7 spot right now, the 7 spot does not seem like my favorite, and that is, in my 2 underdog drafts, the spot that I've, of course, gotten. It seems like there's a clear top 6, but we'll go over all of that when we start doing it. So, normal setup. We're going to do 2 running back, 2 wide receiver, 1 tight end, 1 flex spot. Throw this flex spot in here. No kicker, of course. Defense, we'll do 6 bench spots. That's pretty much average. We'll keep everything the same, and honestly, I'll just adjust that if it seems like things are wrong in a direction. I have not let me know where you guys want me to put me in these videos. I feel like maybe up here, I don't know, is probably best. We'll start with that. You guys can give me updates on what you prefer. I feel like that's out of the way. I don't think I'm blocking anything right now. We will not show drafted players. Oh, no. Yes, we want to hide the drafted players. I feel like the button should say hide drafted players instead. All right. It seems like they updated their screen as well, so I'll make sure everything I'm looking at makes sense here. But we're the 2 pick. Of course, I'll show you guys the draft board a ton. I don't know why they don't even have it on the screen. I feel like they did an update and they didn't. It should be better here, but there, we'll kind of even it out a little bit more so you guys can see the whole board there. Chase went first. It's basically going to be, I don't think anyone's going to take Chase over, or it's going to take like Jefferson, Lamb, Puka, them over Chase this season. I think he's pretty clearly the top wide receiver. It's just going to be personal preference. If you prefer to go wide receiver heavy to start, you prefer to do a hero RB build. I am typically kind of a player that likes that hero, likes getting that running back early and then seeing what goes from there. So I would take one of Bijan or Saquon. Right now, I have Saquon ahead of Bijan in half PPR scoring. So there we have it. Let's skip this part. I feel like I don't need to see all those names pop up. Okay, one thing I've noticed. The tight ends are going pretty early. So it looks like Bowers, I know on Underdog, he'll go, and this pretty much similar spot. He'll go like early second round. McBride will also go. So it seems like right now, those 2 are going to go in round 2. I do think that makes sense. I think that if we kind of pull up tight end right now, you've got Bowers, you've got McBride, you've got kind of a drop-off into Kittle, probably another drop-off into Laporta, and then this whole range being very similar to each other. So people are going to try and lock up one of Bowers or McBride because, I mean, there is a relatively clear drop in talent level as well as we kind of get into this range. They're all great, but they all like have some things, in that second round range where you're like, they're not just slam dunks to be amazing this season. So I think that part makes sense. We're seeing a pretty even split of running back and wide receiver in these first 2 rounds. So I go Saquon, Bijan goes next. Gibbs and Henry also go in round 1. Genty, McCaffrey, Achane, Bucky, Chase Brown, and JT all go in round 2. And then for wide receivers, we get Jefferson, Puka, Lamb, Neighbors, St. Brown, Nico, Brian Thomas Jr., London, AJ Brown, and Ladd McConkey. Like I said, kind of to open up, seems like right now the 7 pick's not amazing, although I'll say I have Lamb in that top 6, kind of ending that top 6 here, and I do think the drop is into Puka, but if maybe as I kind of adjust the rankings, adjust the projections, it is actually only like a 10-point drop, so it's nothing crazy there. But yeah, it seems like as you get into like 7, 8, 9, it's more so that it seems like you're getting similar players as everyone else in this late first round. Like, what is really the difference between like Puka, Neighbors, St. Brown, Nico, Brian Thomas Jr.? Like, I mean, the projections, each one of them I have within like maybe 8 points, like that entire group. Like it's a very consolidated group. And so you're basically just forced to take first, which kind of stinks when that happens because then they get that second pick and we do see a drop off into the second round. Like, would you rather get like Puka and Chase Brown or just wait a little bit and get like Nico and McCaffrey or Amon-Ra and Achane or a double dip at running back here? Like, it just seems like that's better. But again, we're so early. We're going to break all that stuff down as things goes on. So personally, I'm not a person who loves taking tight end this early. I do have Bowers at 207. He goes 205, so that's fine. And I do have McBride at 211. We're at the 211. So I think it's actually fine. And to be honest, McBride is actually who, just glancing at it briefly, is my top player, which also stinks that, you know, if you're at 211 and all of the first 210 come off the board, you're getting zero value at that spot. I just don't love my teams as much when I do it. I guess it's fine because you're only going to have 2 picks that go by here. And so if you just like pretended that you took the tight end the third round, like that's my preference is to take that first tight end in round 3 if you're going to go heavy there. So we could just pretend we took him in round 3 and just kind of lock up that if we don't see a drop off in any other value. But let's just pull things up here. So we'll high drafted players. We're not going quarterback. Quarterbacks on, I'll see what they're doing here, on Underdog are going very late. Like this whole range of Allen, Lamar, Daniels, Hurts, and then it's kind of a drop into Burrow. That 4 group is like typically last year we saw round 3 all off the board. They're pushing into round 4. I got like Hurts in round 5 the other day. So we'll see what's happening there. But I would definitely not take them in 2. And because of ADPs, I wouldn't take them at 3 right now either. And Lamar would be the first one I have right now at 303. So it would be preferable not to do that. So we're not going to go quarterback. Running back, you got Jacobs. My top running back right now is Jacobs. Actually, Jacobs is actually my top player at 208. I misspoke before, but Jacobs is the top player. Kyron, though I have some concerns about Kyron this season. Brees, some concerns. James Cook, Mixon, Chuba. It just seems like a little bit early to take all of them. So I would consider Jacobs here. Again, I would consider McBride as well. And then wide receiver, my top wide receiver looks like Tyreek Hill and JSN within 0.3 points of each other. So kind of a coin flip between those two. So those look like the 4 players we would want. There's only 4 right opportunities here, of course. We pull up all here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we will be getting 2 of these players. It's just about optimizing which 2 you would want to get. I wouldn't go wide receiver here because I wouldn't I'd be totally fine if the first team took Chase, JSN, Tyreek as their like first 3, and we were stuck with Saquon, Jacobs, and Trey McBride. I could just hammer out wide receivers kind of in the middle rounds. I think I'd feel okay with that. And I do also think it's a lot more likely that one of Jacobs or McBride gets taken and that we are left with one of JSN or Tyreek Hill, in which case I don't really care. I'll just take one of those 2 at the 302. So it's more deciding between Jacobs and McBride. I don't think I have a super long lean. Again, the rankings right now, I misspoke before, do have Jacobs at 208, then London, then McConkey, and then Trey McBride at 211. And again, I just think I like my team a little bit more when I don't take tight end that early. Oh, they go Chase, McBride, Allen. Interesting. So we're going to take Jacobs. I think I just like how the teams turn out a little bit more there. And then I guess I'll just take again, at Tyreek Hill, I have at 194.7 points, and JSN I have at 194.4 points. So it's coin flip. You would take the one you feel better about. I'll just go with the rankings at this one. So we start off a double RB, not robust. Robust would be 3 running backs. I mean, it depends on your definition, but it's probably 3 running backs in the first like 4 rounds would be the classification for it, which we won't do. I'm not going to take running back probably at this pick. But we go Saquon, Jacobs, Tyreek. We lock up 2 running backs that we know are on very good teams, are going to have very stable workloads, are not being threatened right now. Theoretically, I guess Lloyd could take some touches, but like there's no threat to Jacobs right now. So we're locked in there. We're probably not going to take a running back at 411 or 502. Notable, after Tyreek Hill, Kittle goes to 303. That's early. I don't think he'll end up going there. I think he'll more be like a 4th round pick. Laporta also goes at 401. The stupid board always moves over on this. Only 2 tight ends to go. That top 4 of quarterback does go. We miss Jalen Hurts by 1 pick. We probably would have taken Jalen Hurts next. But Allen, Lamar, Daniels, and Hurts all off the board. And then kind of an even mixture. I'm not going to go over every running back and wide receiver, but basically the running backs and wide receiver you'd imagine. Chuba goes 402. That's probably a little bit early for him. Pollard at 409 is probably a little bit early for him. Other than that, everyone else makes sense. Oh, I would say Cortland Sutton goes at 306. That's too early. He'll probably be more a 4th round pick. Even a 5th round pick, honestly. I don't think people are going to take Sutton in round 3. That would be very surprising. So yeah, nothing crazy goes there. Pull up the cheat sheet. Let's see who we have. So we could go Burrow. I just hate doing that because, so technically Burrow's not a bad pick here. I don't know where exactly I have him. I have him at 505. That's not a bad pick at 411. Like if you saw that and you wanted to take him, go ahead and do it. It's more so I just miss Hurts. And so if I took Burrow here from like a game theory perspective, the team at 103 got Bijan, who I think is very similar to Saquon. They got Ladd, who I think is very similar to Jacobs. They're beating me at tight end. I think they got way better value at quarterback. It's just going through things, and you're like, okay, if I take Burrow here, who I have, 20 spots? Nearly 18 spots worse than Hurts. I'm just being like, wow, I just missed on this value. Why don't I hope that there's value somewhere else and not just be like, I just missed this. I guess I'll take this, but at a way worse value. I don't know. You're just like locking in way worse value in the person right next to you, which isn't ideal to do. So when you just miss, I wouldn't drop down at that next tier and take Burrow right after that. And honestly, like I'm probably not going to take him at 502 as well, is kind of what I'm getting at here. You would never take him at 411 if this person had Josh Allen, but I don't think I would want to wait a while. I'd want to get a good value at quarterback because I just missed on getting insane value. I'd want to hope that it still works out for me. I get something else. So we're not going to do quarterback here. The running backs aren't looking great, and I would go running back here if I had maybe not had one yet. You know, you could take Alvin Kamara, you could take Dave Montgomery, Travion Henderson, RJ Harvey. I'm really going to like this season. Judkins. It's a great rookie class. We're going to talk about this rookie class in plenty of videos. Because I already have 2, it's just not, the value is not really there to do that. So if we don't want quarterback, we don't want running back, tight end's not really a value right now. I mean, this whole range is very similar. There's no way we should be the first to take it. We're probably just double dipping on wide receiver, which is totally fine because we took the 2 running backs to start off. It'd be totally fine to start off, 3 wide receivers, 2 running backs. We'd probably be even on value after doing that. So I think we're just going to take the top 2 wide receivers we have in the rankings. I believe that is going to be what they have on the board right now, Adams and DJ Moore. Close with Devonta Smith. Devonta Smith is like touching DJ Moore. They're very close there. Rashee Rice would be in consideration. There's just so much unknowns this early with the suspension. He's probably going to be suspended at some point this season, probably going to be suspended for some level of time, but I don't know when and I don't know how long. And so to take him right now with that unknown, it's like if you knew it was like a 2-game suspension to start the year, sure, absolutely take him this early because I don't think the injury is going to be too much of a concern. But is it going to be like 6 games, 8 games? I don't know enough about that right now, so I would probably lean away from it. But if you had some sort of inside information or we get information later on, maybe he's kind of the pick there. But I would say Devonta Smith, Adams, DJ Moore, those are kind of the players you'd be consideration for here. Xavier Worthy would also be a pretty good pick in this spot. I just think it makes sense also to get 2 of these guys because they're all going to be gone at our next pick. And then we're going to be looking more in this like Addison, Waddle, Travis Hunter, Judy range, a pretty clear drop off a wide receiver. Let's grab 2 of them. I think we're going to feel good about doing that. So I will probably take Adams because, again, we can treat this like ADP. His effective ADP is 37 right now. It's just more likely that he gets taken, and we're hoping we can get Adams and one of DJ Moore or Devonta Smith. Why would you leave Adams on the board and take like Devonta Smith when it's now possible that both Adams and DJ Moore go? So play the ADP game, take Adams. Looks like it works out for us, and we will get either one of our options. They go with Rashee Rice, we just talked about, and then James Conner, who I'm a little bit scared for this season, another year older, but they didn't really add any running back talent. Benson, you're imagining take a step forward, but I don't know. I'm hesitant to do that in round 5. So projections-wise, I have actually So I have Worthy. Again, it comes down to Rice. I'm factoring in some level of suspension there, and Worthy just becomes a risky pick. But I guess could I take on risk here? Tyreek Hill's super old. Adams is super old. I actually probably should de-risk, but is Worthy even a risky player? Probably not. I don't know. It's so close between those two. Again, I have him at 406 and 407. We're getting good value with either one. You could take either one of them there. Because I have DJ Moore right after that at 409. So I actually wouldn't have Moore at this pick. I think I would just lean with the projection. We'll just go with Worthy. Because I also none of these guys can be available at our next spot. They're saying there's a better chance that Worthy is, but I'd be shocked if that actually occurred. So we'll just take our top projected and take Worthy. But yeah, there was no way we're getting it done. Oh my goodness. A tight end run. So for those of you listening on Spotify, can't see what just came off the board. No tight ends go after like my pick. So the last tight end to go off the board before we just went there was Sam Laporte at 401. Another tight end was not taken until Evan Ingram at 602. But then you have 606, TJ Hawkinson, 607, Jonnu Smith, 608, Mark Andrews, 609, Kelsey. So another situation where kind of a run happens and we're kind of at I guess we're kind of at the end of a tier. Let me pull up actually tight end specific rankings. Yeah, no, I wouldn't even say it's an end of a tier. I would say we just kind of completely missed that general tier and actually you got good values here on Loveland and Warren. Who I have next. I'd have Warren, then Loveland. Then you'd probably go with Njoku after that. But all pretty big drop-offs from that Hawkinson, Jonnu, Andrews sort of range. And if we just missed that, you don't want to be going into that next range after that. Look somewhere else. There's probably decent value somewhere else. Also worth noting, Burrow goes at 509. Baker Mayfield goes at 603. Let's see. Rookies, it looks like Henderson goes at 504. Harvey goes at 508. And Caleb Johnson goes at 610. This is also what I was noting before. If you think back, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, you couldn't even do a mock draft until August. It was completely pathetic. No one submitted rankings. No one was doing mock drafting. So we couldn't even get an accurate mock draft until it was August time. And by that point, it's you're already doing your draft. It is, I don't even know what date it is. It is May 4th, recording this for Cinco de Mayo. This is accurate. These are accurate ADPs. Obviously, there's going to be injuries. There's going to be hype. These will move around, but this is incredibly accurate. People are actually submitting rankings early in the season right now. You could go here and mock draft, or you can mock draft on the app we will talk about later in the video, which also has very accurate ADPs. But we'll get to that point. So let's pull up the cheat sheet. We're not going tight end, so let's just get that off the board. Quarterback, Mahomes, Bo Nix, Kyler. What are the values on them? I don't think amazing, but it's also, we shouldn't wait forever to take a quarterback. Yeah, no. So 805. Well, I actually have Kyler first at 707, but even that, it's not great value. We'll wait. Everyone around us is kind of taking quarterback, so we can afford to wait a little bit there. Wide receiver, Metcalf, J-Mo, Olave is... I kind of agree with that tier break there. That feels good. Maybe you could throw Waddle in there, especially if you thought Tyreek Hill was not playing for Miami anymore. I don't really know what's happening with that situation. But if they are, I probably don't want to take both of them on my fantasy team, which actually is something I'm going to look into potentially. I have some data that's going to finish running today, tomorrow, that collected over 1 million teams. And I'm going to do a study kind of looking into stacking and how that kind of works out for teams. But my lean still right now is you just don't stack in redraft, or you kind of avoid it for super high end players because there's just too much negative downside there. But anyways, I think Judkins is a pretty good pick in this spot. He's gotta be the top running back in the rankings, I feel like. Yeah, he's a top running back. I'm at 606, so at 611, that's pretty strong value. My guess is we'll end up going with him. After him, so I still like Jaylen Warren. People are definitely off on him. Of course, they took, I'll pull this up so you can kind of see. They took Caleb Johnson. Caleb Johnson goes 6'10". I have Caleb Johnson at 702 and Warren at 6'11". I think Caleb Johnson's probably going to be maybe like better than Najee. Najee was super inefficient. But if you don't really care about that, you care more about touches. What are they going to do between the touch split between Caleb, or comparing Caleb and what they used to do with Najee? Najee still always got a billion touches. And this is still a range where like you'd be looking at Jaylen Warren. It just feels like people are off of Jaylen Warren. Who knows? Maybe Caleb Johnson comes in and he ends up not being that amazing. It's not a lock that he's an amazing prospect, or ends up being an amazing prospect. And it's kind of known at this point he's not going to be used in the receiving game. So Warren still has all of that locked in. I don't know. I feel like Warren's still a good pick. I feel like people are maybe overhyping Caleb Johnson a little bit. It's not like we were over the moon playing Najee Harris in recent years, and he got 1 billion touches. There's no way Caleb's going to get more than Najee was getting. He's probably going to get less. So I don't know. That's kind of my take on that situation right now, but we'll see how that plays out. I just think right now it's relatively obvious you're taking Judkins with this pick, and we'll just kind of see what happens after that. So we take Judkins, Olave and Najee go off the board, and this is another one. I feel like this is an obvious one. Just grab DK Metcalf. I mean, he's an absolute monster. I know he's going to a new team. I know we don't know the quarterback situation. My take right now is they're probably just going to get Rodgers or Cousins, and it's not like you're pumped about that. I don't think they're going to go in with a rookie quarterback this season to draft a running back early, to be a team that was already, they're always good, right? They're always in playoff contention. They're not going to be like favorites to win the Super Bowl or anything. When you bring in an early round running back, when you bring in DK Metcalf to pair with Pickens, are you really going to go with like a mediocre rookie quarterback? Like, I just don't feel like that's going to happen. So I think they're going to figure out the quarterback situation. And if they do, and you're getting DK Metcalf at 702, right? Like doesn't that make a lot of sense? So I don't know. Sometimes you just got to see players that are much more talented than where they're actually going and be like, well, it's DK Metcalf. He's a monster. I don't care what team he's on. At 702, I'm going to draft that. So my team right now, we've got Saquon, Jacobs, Judkins at running back. And wide receiver, we've got Tyreek Hill, Adams, Worthy, and Metcalf. I feel like that's working out pretty well. We were going to need tight end and quarterback at some point, so we should probably start thinking about that. But I think it's going really well right now. Mahomes is still on the board, and I know he was bad last season, but they get Rice back. They've got Worthy. I forget who they drafted. They drafted someone who some people are a little bit excited about. I know Kelsey's like 1 million years old at this point. But it feels like you're getting Mahomes at 811 now. Have him at 805. He is the top available. If we miss out on Mahomes, we're basically waiting forever, because this whole range of Goff, Purdy, Herbert, Fields, Caleb, Love, May, Stroud, Dak, Lawrence, Tua you can throw in there. Maybe you can throw Stafford. You can throw McCarthy if you thought that he was going to start all season. Like, that entire chunk is the same. I mean, like, there's a lot of outcomes that are potentially different there, but that chunk starts at like 300 fantasy points and it ends at like 275. Like, we're talking about like a 25-point difference over the whole season among all of those players. You would just wait and like basically be the last one, or if you had a particular take there. But I do think this is Patrick Mahomes. He at least possesses like a lot more upside than that range. So it would just make sense. We've missed out on these guys. Draft Patrick Mahomes. Like, I don't know. To me, that kind of feels like a no-brainer. I kind of don't like the new draft board that they have. It feels like it's small. Like, maybe there's just a setting that I'm not doing properly. Maybe I need to go in also and like, can we do like, yeah, this feels better. Okay. Right. I think we can agree. Maybe that was preferable to do. Okay, so now we can see the whole thing. But I feel like before we didn't actually have to like mess with things and make things smaller and you could see everything. Because I feel like I should be able to bring this up higher. I don't know. That's just my opinion. So we take Mahomes at 811. I think that made a lot of sense. No quarterbacks went. Oh wait, no. It was the short turn. So of course no quarterbacks were going to go. Etienne and Bigsby. Ugh, those are disgusting picks. I would avoid the whole Jacksonville backfield until they like trade someone away or someone gets hurt. I have them all absolutely tanked in the rankings. So we have Saquon, Jacobs, and Judkins. We probably want another running back soon. Tyreek, Adams, Metcalf, and Worthy. That's a really strong core wide receiver. They're saying this is a tier break in Njoku. I don't have that right now. Again, we're so early in the projections. I wouldn't just stare at projections. That's why we're kind of going off vibes a lot for this one. But I have him in the exact same range as like Loveland, Warren, even Kincaid. But I don't really want Kincaid too much this season. Kind of proved last season that it's probably just not going to happen for Kincaid. But very similar to like those two. I don't think those two have come off the board. And it's likely they won't for a while if their ADP, quote unquote, here is 15, 16. I feel like it's probably a good spot to take Njoku. But I guess all of these, there's only 2 teams that have not taken a tight end. So it's overwhelmingly likely that if I waited until 10, 11, our next pick, I can probably get one of, I probably won't get Njoku, but I could probably get one of Loveland or Warren. You don't love starting them early in the season. They're probably not going to be like super involved to start the year. You'd probably much prefer Njoku to start the year, which, I mean, those wins are just as valuable as the wins at the end of the season. So that's kind of why I feel like I'm going to end up with Njoku a little bit ahead in this tier. But because they're similar, I almost feel like if there's something else we like, I'd maybe think about risking it. So let's see. But this is basically what we want to do at tight end. We want to end up with something there. Debo wouldn't be a bad pick here. I have Diggs pretty far back in the rankings, so he wouldn't be my top. I'm not in love with Jaden Reed. Ayuk coming off the injury with also competition there. Don't love that. Myers, a little bit added competition, but then also probably a very run-heavy scheme. Geno elevates quarterback play there and more, but I feel like it's pretty obvious you would want to go with Deebo Samuel, wide receiver at this spot. Running back, we'll want one soon, but this range also is kind of gross. I mean, Tajay, White, Rico, Ray, Benson, Algier, Eckler, Guerrero. This, I mean, you're not taking Eckler. You're not taking Guerrero. You're looking at handcuffs everywhere else. Like at that point, you're taking a rookie. You know, you're taking a shot on Tootin. Can he break out in Jacksonville? Blue, can Blue break out? I mean, you wouldn't take them at this pick, but in this range, I'm not touching running back. Like I said, we should probably take running back soon, but the value is not in running back. There's so much uncertainty with all these guys that you would wait. How many bench spots do we have here? We've done 2, so we have 4 more skill position picks, plus tight end, but like 4 more bench spots that we're going to take running back and receiver. I would 100% take Debo ahead of these guys right now. There's still some really good options at wide receiver on the board, but we would take Debo there. But I do think our team is probably better if we took Njoku. And I know it's probably going to hurt because if we took Debo, man, our wide receiver core is sick because we already have Tyreek, Adams, Worthy, and Metcalf. But I think it makes a lot more sense for us. And honestly, it makes sense for us. Like if we took Njoku, we could even take one of Loveland or Warren, see if they break out, have them on the bench, and then we have extreme value at tight end. We know in the studies that we've done that the number one thing you can do at tight end is trade them. Trade high on tight end always in redraft leagues. You like just it always works out where your championship and playoff rate increase when you do that. So I think that's something we can kind of keep in the back of our mind that like we can still go after those positions. Okay, after we go, I'll try and maximize what you guys can see there. Fields goes, no other tight ends go, which I wouldn't have really expected. I think they'll hold off now. No other quarterbacks, though. It's just a bunch of running backs and wide receivers, but also a lot that I don't know, the whole range of running back. It's like so many of them are just going to do absolutely nothing this season that I wouldn't really want to be taking any of them. So we'll pull up our team here. Again, we have 4. Now we have the quarterback and tight end. So we'll have 4 skill positions, and then we'll go defense with the final pick. I do think I would want to draft one of Loveland or Warren as that backup. We waited long enough where that's okay value-wise. So taking 3 running back and receiver. I probably want to take 2 running backs. So I probably want to go 2 running back, 1 receiver, 1 tight end for the rest of this draft. How do we want to section that off? The running backs I would actually want to draft are Jaden Blue, rookie in Dallas, Devin Neal, rookie in New Orleans, Sampson in Cleveland. We have Judkins, though. I mean, I guess that could be a handcuff situation. Yeah, that'd be fine. It'd be fine to do that. But, I mean, optimally, you would probably want the Judkins pick to work out, in which case you would hope that Sampson's kind of like pushed back into much more of a secondary role. But again, handcuff wise, I mean, he's obviously the clear secondary running back there. Other than that, I'm not in love with Giddens, especially in a half PPR league. Elijah would be like a super late pick for Kansas City if he works out. Same way for Ollie Gordon, but I mean, Chubb. If you thought Chubb went to Chicago, that's kind of the thought right now is where he could end up. If you think Damian Martinez breaks out, but I'm not huge on that. Not in love. Some people like Brashard Smith as a sleeper tight end in Kansas City. Yeah. So since we want 2 running backs, we should probably take one of the running backs with this pick, even though like there's good receivers on the board. Like Pittman's a good pick here. Kirk, Shaheed, Golden's a great pick here. Emeka would be a good pick a little bit later on. Jaden Higgins, strong pick. So it's like there's a lot of wide receivers, and while many of the ones I just mentioned will be off the board soon, I know these running backs will also be off the board. So I think we should go with our favorite. And I would say Jaden Blue just because of opportunity. If he ends up being good, ends up starting, he's athletic. He can be used in the receiving game. I don't think he's some insane talent, and they took him, like round 5. So it's not likely that he works out to being amazing. But if he does work out, then he's on Dallas and he's got like a featured role, and it ends up being, a lot of ceiling there. So I think we take him. I'm curious what I have in that range for wide receiver. Because I like Pittman, but I feel like I'm also on an island right now. I feel like a lot of people don't like Pittman this season. I have Golden first. Yeah, we're in a better spot to be like, I'll just take Golden, Higgins. I don't know when Loveland Warren would kind of come off the board there, but I feel like we'll miss out on these running backs. Maybe I should just handcuff with Sampson. That's probably the move. Handcuff with Sampson. We'll come down here. We do miss out on, it's a little tough. Actually, Golden went at 11:05. We just missed out on Shaheed after that, but I think it still made sense. Get the running back. I think Higgins, I'm pretty sure. Well, what do I have? Yeah, I have Higgins first. So Higgins, well, do we go Higgins or do we go with one of the tight ends? This is the short one? Okay, we'll be good. You go with Jaden Higgins, and then you go with the tight end, and then you go with the quarterback. Who do I have between? I think I have Warren over to Loveland. I do. It's very close, just because of target competition, but it's probably made up for by target volume changing, but I've Warren a little bit ahead. We'll go with defense. I have not done defense rankings, obviously, so we'll just take the top one there, and then we will see here. All right. I think this team ended up pretty good. You guys can see that pretty well, I think. I don't need to zoom in much. Starting lineup. Mahomes, Saquon, Jacobs, Tyreek Hill, Adams, Njoku, Xavier Worthy, Bills, and then the bench, Judkins, Metcalf, Blue, Sampson, Higgins, and Warren. Okay, million rookies. I've just noticed that. That's also something I want to look into a little bit. So historically, we lean rookie, we lean youth. A lot of times in your hometown leagues, rookies are just good values because enough people just don't know, and so they don't take them. I also think I have a good mixture here. My entire starting lineup is veterans, besides Worthy in the flex spot. But like Saquon, Jacobs, Hill, Adams, and Njoku, Mahomes, like those are all veterans. We know what we're getting early in the season. So we can actually afford to have all these rookies on the bench, and then Metcalf, obviously, veteran as well. We can afford to have that like fast start with those guys, and then like end of season is where all these rookies start to really, really outperform their ADP. We can get enough wins early on and then get there. I want to look into like a percentage of, so I have all these teams, right? If you can identify rookies and be like, okay, teams that had half of their starters as rookies, or half of their like lineup as rookies versus 40% versus 30%, 20%, like what is the optimal percentage of your starting lineup that should be rookies in order to increase your championship rate? I think that'd be a really cool thing to look into. Again, the data's not finished running yet, but that'd be kind of cool to see. Curious who sees that we're the best team here. I want to see if I show up Nice. So I think we got a 97 in this draft, which makes sense because I was the one drafting. Although I probably shouldn't have done that if you guys were still looking at it. But you guys can see the teams. This is a gross look, but you can look back and see the team if you want to look into that. Okay. What we're going to do now is we're going to very briefly, because this has already been probably a longer mock draft than I was anticipating doing here. We're going to go over the app. So I built an app this offseason. It's going to take me a second to pull up over here, the code. I have to run it in like a simulator to kind of show you guys because obviously I'm on a computer right now. But I'll run the simulator now. It's going to take a second to start up. Built an app, free to download. You can go to the App Store right now. Just type in Fantasy Football Advice. It should be somewhere on there. I don't know if it's going to be like first for you, but scroll through. You can find it. It's got the logo and everything. You have to make an account to go into it to kind of track everything, but you can make a free account. You can do that all within the app. You don't even have to go to the website to do that. And you'll be automatically, like, you can log in to the app based on your login to the website, right? So whatever you have for credentials for the website, if you forgot them, you can reset the password on the app as well. When you go into it, here's what we're looking at. So we are in a competition this season. You guys versus me. We're going to see who can make the most accurate rankings. And that is entirely what the players tab is. We're going to be basing it off PPR or off half PPR because I'm not going to just do like all the different ones. But whatever you want to do, if you want to set up for PPR, you want to contribute to the dynasty rankings, whatever you want to do, all you're doing is saying, okay, who would you rather draft? Jamar Chase or Saquon Barkley? Maybe you think it is Jamar Chase. You select him. Boom. Those are the match results. You can click this eye here and it's going to tell you like, what is ELO? Like, what are these community rankings? Like, what are we contributing to here? But basically, all of your picks in this are going to contribute in real time to community rankings, which are going to feed into the mock draft tab. So you go in here and you just make picks. Next matchup, would you rather draft these two? Well, these are probably two mediocre options. Probably you'd rather go with Will there. We go back, kind of have a Saquon and Chase one. We've got Pearsall and Bigsby, and you can just go through and just start doing a bunch of these. Every single time you do that, it's going to contribute to community rankings. And the end of the season, we're going to see you guys, which is everyone that's contributed to the app here, versus me. What we can also do is we can see trending. So based off of your picks, we can see who is trending up last 7 days, last 30 days, who is falling in the rankings. And it's a good way for us to kind of gauge real time, like kind of the trend of players. What it'll also do is feed into the mock draft tab. So you can go in and you can select your scoring formats, your league size, whether it is a snake draft or 3-round reversal, what pick you want, what your roster settings are, everything. And you can go in and you can draft. You can be like, all right, well, I would like to take Jamar Chase first. And everything's going to draft. We're going to see the draft board pop up. You can just go in and filter by the different positions. You can see here exactly what you've drafted. Pretty self-explanatory. You can also see, you're not going to see notes right now because I only have notes on like 10 players because it's only May 4th, right? I'm going to add there. But once I start adding notes on players, you're going to see that. You're going to see where I have them ranked, where the community has them ranked, what their changes recently. So it's also a great player, or a great thing. Like if you're kind of doing these things, right? You can go in and you can see, okay, like I'm looking at kind of these players here. I can read the notes as it goes on. You are going to have premium on the website to view the notes section, but it's only up to a certain amount. I think I let, it's probably like the first 150 words or something are free for everyone. So even if you just wanted to read the first like little bit, once we get into like, honestly, July, I'll probably have player notes up for everyone. You can kind of do mock drafts. You can kind of look at things and see like, what is my take on different players as you're drafting. So kind of a fun thing there. And also it's just so easy to pull up the app and draft on that. And the other teams are going to have different strategies. Some of them are going to use Hero RB. Some of them are going to use RB0. Some of them are going to draft based off my rankings, based off the community rankings. You get team grades after that, everything. So I think it's a well-built app. I think it makes a lot of sense. We're also still in quote-unquote beta. I mean, it just launched everything, but I want a lot of you to check that out. There is a social feature to the app. So everyone also has a profile where you can see, oh, how many times have we voted? How many mock drafts have we done? Of course, I have to test all this stuff out, so I have a lot of scores and stuff here. But what you guys can do is you can also feed into community stuff. So I can go in and I can say, okay, I'm going to edit my profile. Or did I just click view profile? I'm going to edit my profile. And you can change. I don't look at these. I was just testing things out. These aren't actually real. But you can go in, you can change players and save what you think. And other people can see, oh, Nick has these guys. Again, don't look specifically. I was very quick in just throwing these up. But you can see, who do people have as must draft? Who do people have as sleepers? And that's going to feed into some of the premium stuff, right? The community picks. We're going to see, again, I need a lot of you to download and use the app. We'll be able to see, who do people have as the most must draft players? Who do people have as sleepers, as fades, things like that. So little community aspect. You can see who's following you and stuff. You'll see a feed of other people, what their mock drafts are, what their list changes are. There's a leaderboard for who's voting the most and mock drafting the most all time, weekly. You can go in and follow them. You can see, well, I don't want to unfollow people. You can go in and see different things about their profile. You can view people's mock draft history and your own. So when you do a mock draft, you can go in and view them, right? I can go in and see, oh, this is the last mock draft that I did. I can see everything from it. I can save it to my phone. I think the app is cool. I think it makes a lot of sense. I think it's a lot of fun. And also, if you have premium, we do have the rankings. Like, you can literally go in, I'll pull up the rankings right now, and you can draft. I can reset this draft. I can go in and I can be like, that's my team. This guy got drafted. This guy got drafted. This guy got drafted. You can hide drafted players. You can go in and view your own team, see what you have done. So if you somehow also got Genty, he shows up. You can view the notes once there's actually notes on Genty. So you can do live drafting on the app under different scoring formats. You got the sleeper stuff. You've got the trade calculators in there as well, which also has it's for sleeper. So you just type in your sleeper username, search for your leagues. Boom, that's a dynasty league. There's the power rankings for it. There's a trade calculator for it. Change the team, add players to the trade, all that stuff. I think it's great. I think the app is awesome, and there's going to be more stuff added to premium as we go on. Unfortunately, I can make videos, and I got to finish this video so I can edit this video and get this up to you guys. But now that I'm making videos, it's going to be slower in developing the app. But yeah, I think everything has gone well for that initial reactions. People like it. It's only on iOS right now. I'm still developing the Android version. I hate Android. It's so much harder to build on, I feel like. But eventually, hopefully in May, that will be up as well. It just takes time to do the videos and the rankings and the app and everything. But let me know what you guys think. Please download the app. Please use it. Please leave a review on it. Please get the 5-star rating up so other people can see. I think it is a good app. But that'll do it for this one. Thank you for watching. Please leave a like if you watched this far. Subscribe to the channel if you guys are new here. But I'll catch you guys on the next one.